Ladies and gentlemen, what is up? What is good? Avery Sports Show here in Toronto. We've been off for a little bit, and for the first time in a very long time, we have an in-studio guest, fresh face to the program, Mr. Sam Davis from Swingman Live. How you doing, sir?
Good, buddy. I'm good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Most definitely, man. You know, Swingman. For those of you who don't know, you're a part of an entertainment company that puts on live TED Talks events in the sporting field on baseball, hockey, basketball, and their names are Pitch Talks, Hockey Talks Live, and Hoop Talks. So tell us, how did you get involved in this type of TED Talk stuff for these different sporting platforms then?
Well, I kind of just went as a fan. I think it was August. I was listening to Tim and Sid at work. I work at another job.
Yeah.
And I was just listening to them, and I guess Sid Seixeiro was going to be on one of the chats. And I love Sid. I think Sid's so funny.
He is.
And I'd love to see him, and he was kind of plugging it during his show. And I was like, I have nothing to do Thursday. I can just hang out and let's go talk baseball. So bought a ticket the day of, went out, sat by myself, met some really cool people. And then I went up to the creator, Kevin Kennedy, right after the talk. I was like, get me involved. I want to do this. This is so much fun. And I get an email back from him 2 weeks later. I kind of gave him my spiel. I was a Ryerson grad. Did some internships with Sportsnet and MLSE and looking to break into the industry. And this seems like a unique way of doing it. So he emails me back. He's like, sure. I don't really know social media too well, and your generation is kind of the ones that are behind this whole social media rise. And how about you run my Twitter accounts and Facebook accounts and kind of help me promo the stuff? And I was like, of course, I'll do that. So ever since that, I've just been kind of growing with the company. I've hosted a couple talks. I just came back from New York. That was a pretty sweet trip, and it's been fun. And I've met a lot of cool people, and I'm hoping it grows.
It will. And you know, with Pitch Talks, with Hoop Talks Live, you know, it's a platform for the media people to come together and discuss issues in sports, but also too, like, there's a lot of fan interaction, and it's fully uncensored because you get comments from, say, a Jamie Campbell, a Sid Seixeiro, a Paul Jones, that probably wouldn't be, you know, kosher with their companies, and it's refreshing.
Exactly. Yeah. What we're trying to make is this is kind of how I present it as. It's an organic conversation we're making. Most broadcasters, well, just from my brief experience with Sportsnet and MLSE, they have a leash, right? They have a public image that they need to keep, which is totally cool because these are multi-billion-dollar industries that if one kind of slip up, they could lose like a sponsorship, or they could lose big money. So I totally respect that decision, but we kind of have created a forum where we can get these really knowledgeable baseball personalities and hockey personalities and just create a conversation like you and I would have at a bar, or and have these guys just talk. And I've talked to many of the panelists afterwards, and they come off and like, I could have talked for years. I know Chris Johnston, for instance. Chris Johnston is such a cool guy.
Yeah.
He is awesome. He's a big advocate for the puck tops. And I remember his face coming off the stage like, guys, I want to do all of these. And we've almost had him on all of them. And it's great to see that they enjoy it, and it's great to see how the fans enjoy it.
Absolutely.
They're able to get to interact with these they're almost like celebrities, these reporters, right?
Yes.
They see them on Twitter, they see them on TV, and they're able to get an answer like quick. And It's a lot of fun. It's a good time.
It's true. You know what's funny because you learn a lot of stuff about this. I came down for the very first time last fall. I came down to Pitch Shock 7, and I met you there. I met Morgan Campbell there, and so you mentioned it's organic. You know what? They don't talk down to fans because a lot of reporters on Twitter, may see fans as dumb, as idiots. There's no egos involved in Pitch Shocks. They may talk to a fan who's 15 years old at this event. They'll talk to a fan who's 65 years old. They don't care. They like talking to any fan in this platform. So great.
My favorite actually is when I see the sports reporters just coming to watch the show. Jamie Campbell was at our last pitch talks just as a fan, and he came out. He talked to some fans, and he just wanted to talk to the baseball community in Toronto.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of what we're trying to make. Kevin described it the best. It was like last week we were having a conversation, and it's sports, the rock show, where we get these people and it's live, and they can say anything, and people can interact. It's a really interesting experience, and it's hard for me to explain it just on a podcast.
Right.
You definitely have to be there to feel the buzz.
I know Pitch Talks 10. February 19th. Who will be on that panel then? February 19th.
Man, we got Wilner, who's a second-time panelist. I actually wasn't there when he was in the first time, but I hear he was great. He was on with Dan Schulman on one of the first ones, which was amazing that we got Dan Schulman. Exactly, yeah. Jamie Campbell, who was on Pitch Talks. I forget which one it was, but he was on one. He was fantastic as well. Scott MacArthur, who Jay's writer for TSN, right. And I've met him actually a couple times when I interned with Sportsnet, and he's a great guy.
He is.
He's a big 49ers fan too, which I don't think we're gonna get too much football talk out of him, but maybe I'll have a chat with him after that. We've also got our first fantasy sports panel with Scott Cullen from TSN and Alex Sixero, so that should be fun. I'm a huge fantasy sports guy, especially fantasy football. I don't move from my television set during Super Bowl. I mean, not Super Bowl, football Sundays.
Oh, nor do I.
And just because I'm always looking at my fantasy stats and making sure I'm annihilating my opponents, and I need to know that like ASAP.
Exactly.
But yeah, fantasy baseball is obviously one of the biggest fantasy forums out there.
It is.
And having Scott Cullen, one of the best fantasy writers in Canada, and Alex Sixero, who I'm pretty sure a couple times I've asked him for fantasy advice. He screwed me, I think, twice, but most of the time he's very good. He's very good. Just talk fantasy baseball, leading up to your drafts and leading up to trade talks and draft picks and all that kind of stuff. And then we also have, I can't forget her, Alexis Brodnicki, I'm pretty sure I'm saying that right, who is a writer for Baseball Canada, talking about the international game, who's the up-and-coming prospects of Canadian baseball. We've had a first overall pick in the NBA,
yes,
NHL, MLS this year.
That's correct.
And there was someone else. Who was it? Oh, I can't remember. But those three major sports, we never had one in MLB.
No.
I think it's this game's growing.
It is.
And I think we can get, hopefully we can get a first overall pick for MLB. So that's what Alexis is going to be talking about, just international baseball and how the game is growing in Canada.
And right there with Pitch Talks and Hoop Talks and Puck Talks Live, it's not just Major Leagues, NBA, or NHL. Like you said, it's international ball, it's prospects, it's fantasy. It covers all the sports, not just the major elements of it, which is so good to see.
It's the best event for if you're a basketball nerd, or a baseball nerd, or a hockey nerd, and the game inside, you know what's happening in the KHL for some reason.
Yeah.
You know the top 10 scores, or all the draft picks or the draft reports from the OHL and the CHL.
True.
And then I'm actually very interested. We want to get some college basketball. We didn't have a college basketball talk the last two talks, but I think that could definitely spark some interest in the basketball community here. But yeah, no, it's a forum for sports fanatics and sports nerds, and to just come out, nerd out, and talk about what's on their mind and what they'd love to see change and what they love about their sport.
Exactly. It started here in Toronto. We had a Pitch Talks event in New York City, in the mecca of baseball. I mean, that has been really cool.
It was insane. It was. It's the first talk we've ever had outside of Toronto, which is strange. You think we would branch off first to like Montreal or Edmonton or somewhere in Canada, but one of this agent group called the Agency Group found us on Twitter, and the two main guy, I think one's works in the marketing department or something, and they're huge baseball fans, and they basically came up to us and said, guys, we need to do this in New York. It would be amazing. And Kevin was like, okay, let me see if I can get some good New York panelists. And we got some heavy hitters down there. We got Buster Olney, who's got over 1 million followers, and ESPN senior writer. Ken Rosenthal, who writes for Fox Sports and MLB.com, who nearly breaks everything almost in the MLB. Yes. Some great New York Yankee writers. Sweeney Murray, who was a great guy. I had some good conversation with him backstage. Jay Jaffe, who writes for Sports Illustrated. It was moderated. This was the best part, by a guy who writes for the Boston Globe. So having a guy who writes for the Boston Globe, his name's Pete Abraham, fantastic guy. He loved the event so much, and he was fantastic at moderating it. But he also, he covered Yankees and Mets for plenty of years beforehand, and I think he moved over to Boston. I think it was 2010 or 2011. Okay. Yeah, so it's a fairly recent move, but he knew his New York sports very well, and it was nuts. The tough part was trying to promote it because most of our fans are based out of Toronto. Exactly. Right? But when we got down there, from all the help from the agency group as well, we had almost, I think, 300 people show up in the middle of Times Square in January for a baseball talk. I just thought that was so ridiculous. I was shocked. Kevin was shocked. I think most of us were like, "Oh my god, this is crazy!" But it was a lot of fun, and I wanted to go to Philadelphia. I wanted to go to Boston. I want to go all around the states. Yeah. I think it could work.
It could work in any MLB city. You would get a good crowd for that, no matter what city it's in. Yeah, no,
I've pitched this to Kevin a bunch, and I think we should try. If again, we're very grassroots. We haven't really made. It's still very new, right? So we don't know what beast we have here, but I would love to just do one of these in at the All-Star Game City. So say if we did like a Hoop Talks in Brooklyn coming up in what is it, next 2 weeks?
Next 2 weeks, yeah.
I forget where's the MLB All-Star Game this year?
MLB All-Star Game. Oh, is it in Minnesota next year?
Okay. No, it wasn't there last year.
Last year.
Yeah. But just like throwing it in those cities, and where we have those mega fans coming out, and we have most of the media is already there covering it, right? Come out, grab a beer, listen to some cool baseball talk for some awesome people. Yeah. Done.
Or I mean, heck, even next year, the NBA All-Star Game is in Toronto.
Correct.
We have a Hoop Talks All-Star Weekend in Toronto. Yeah. Who knows might show up for that?
See if we can call Drake.
Get
Drake on.
Wearing Raptors OVO shirt right now. So.
Get the global ambassador to come out, man.
Like that would be so funny if Drake did come and say, I want to be a panelist. Like
he would. From the guy who runs the social media accounts for Hoop Talk, a retweet from Drake is all I want in my career.
That's game over.
That's game. Yeah. That's it. Even I don't think Kyle Lowry got a retweet from his NBA ballot campaign from Drake, did he? No. I don't think he did. Yeah. If Hoop Talks could somehow get endorsed by Drake, I'm done. That's it. I'm out the door.
It would be. Oh my goodness. But that's awesome. So I will try to come down next week for Pitch Talks. I had a blast last time. Yeah. So much fun. I mean, heck, even after the show, just spending hours talking to you guys until like 1 a.m. about on all things baseball, all things hockey. Yeah, it's a fun time.
That's the fun part, and don't want to tell too many people about this, but there's always a good after party after the events.
That's true.
So make sure you just keep an eye on me, Kevin or I. You just watch Avry, and we're usually out at a bar till about 1:30, just chatting sports.
Probably the funniest thing about last time. I came with you guys last time. I had a flight to catch Edmonton at 10 in the morning.
Did you really?
Yes, I did. And you're all like, what are you still doing here then?
Dude, Avry. You loved it though, man. Who was out with us? There was a bunch of them.
It was Chris Johnston and Mike Zeisberg. I know.
Zeisberg.
Jeff Lur, Jeff Miette. That was a good time.
Just chatting puck. I loved it.
It was good stuff. I know going from this to now I have to touch on the Toronto Maple Leafs. You know what? Being, you know, as an Edmonton Oilers fan, I do have sympathy for you Leaf fans. I do sympathy for the Leaf because an 0-10-1 streak, that sucks. And being a Toronto, I'm sure you're a Leaf fan yourself, Sam. How does it feel knowing this team has gone from, in a span of 3 months, a possible playoff team to maybe draft lottery for all we know what's said and done this year?
I love it. I personally love it. Like, so I interned with the Leafs. I saw the insides of MLSC, and it's a great company. They do some amazing stuff. I don't know if you've seen the new graphic they've been doing on the ice.
I have, yeah.
They did a Halifax Mooseheads, and they kind of adapted that onto the rink. And that's kind of the team I worked with. And they're super talented people. I loved it, but the Leafs. I think going on this. What was it? 0-10-1. They got 1-10-1. Yeah. I'm ecstatic right now though because we were a bubble team at best. We were probably getting that set at last playoff spot, right. 7 or 6. But the fact that now we're in contention maybe to tank for McDavid or go hopefully. Like we still have Edmonton is terrible.
Yeah,
Edmonton is awful, and I don't know when this gets posted, but I'm really excited to see how the basement bowl, what I'm calling Edmonton Toronto.
That's right.
Goes, but that's like I'm looking at this game and I'm looking at it as a 4-point game. And you know when people are winning, like, oh yeah, it's a big game. They got to leapfrog this team to get into a good spot in the playoffs. Like I'm looking at this and I'm saying this is a big loss for the Leafs. The Leafs need to lose this game so they can gain more ground on an Edmonton for McDavid. Like it's a race to the bottom now.
It is.
Like I would be shocked if they end up first of all making a run in March. Like you know what? I wouldn't be shocked because that would be the Maple Leafs.
That'd be so Leafs.
And they would finish at 9th. Yeah. But I'm very interested to see what happens to the coach.
Yeah.
Randy Carlyle must be somewhere like licking his chops, being like, "Thank God this wasn't me, and you suck."
Yes.
But I don't know what Dave Nonis does. I don't know how if Brendan Shanahan has him on a leash, I think you're gonna start seeing Shanahan taking charge.
You might see it more.
I think we're gonna start. Like I would personally, I don't think it's gonna happen. I would personally love to just see him fire the coach, and bring in and him just to take over the rest of the season. Go behind the bench. Pull like a Gretzky, but not
Shanahan
like no Shanahan. Yeah, go behind the bench just for like the last. It doesn't matter. I don't want him to win more games. Like you can put me behind the bench for God's sake. But I just think this team cannot win more games, and they should blow it up because it's poison right now.
It is poison. And you mentioned like Peter Horacek. I just remember watching just the celebrations of Carlisle's gone, and I knew Carlisle wasn't the sole problem. There's so many more reasons. This is the same team that paid $500 billion to get David Clarkson, who's produced, 25 points? And who may never get to the numbers he reached in New Jersey? Like, this team is so broken, but I can't see them out-tanking Edmonton. I definitely can't see them doing worse than Arizona or Buffalo. Buffalo will do their hardest to try and get either McDavid or Jack Eichel.
See, I'm just praying that we can fall into that little group, that final three where we have a chance at McDavid or Eichel or who's the other one? Krause.
Lawson Krause.
Yeah. He's supposed to be down there as well. Right?
Yeah,
he's gonna be a top 5 pick or something. But man, I was looking at the defense. If you look at the Leafs defense, it's what Franzen, Randberg now he just got recalled.
That's right.
Riley, who really just hasn't done much. Gardner, I can't even. Phaneuf's been out for a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't really care. He's a pylon anyway.
Yeah, but Savon Robitaille's on that pairing as well too.
Robitaille. Can we talk about Robitaille just for 1 second? That signing I remember getting the score update on my phone and seeing Stefan Rovida, like, the Leafs signed Stefan Rovida to whatever it is, two-year contract.
Yeah.
And I was looking at him like, oh, yes, a 38-year-old puck-moving defenseman. That's what we needed. Like, what? And no, but to defend, also to go back to my point, I hear Stefan Robidas great in the dressing room. That's I've heard that from Puck Talks. And he's a really good speaker. Great, because we don't have many of those. Oh, Phil Kessel.
Oh, jeez. Shade.
But but yeah, the defense is just it's been the issue the whole time.
Yes.
Right? And I don't think I've watched. I haven't watched a Leaf game from start to finish.
No.
Without feeling sick in the past. I don't know, maybe like a couple months. It's bad. It's really bad. And I hope it stays this bad. And I'm not gonna watch. I'll stop watching Leaf games and just watch. I watched the Raptor game for the first time over a Leaf game.
Really?
In over probably like 5 years.
Wow.
Which it was like last Saturday night when they played Philly.
Yes.
And I think the Raptors were playing. Who was it? Oh, they played Washington.
Washington.
Big conference game. I had the game on the Raptor game the whole time. And it's interesting, man. I don't ever think that hockey will not be premium in Toronto because obviously there are some crazy Leaf fans here, and that
without a doubt.
And the fact that people still pay for tickets, pay them not just pay for tickets, but pay the crazy price for tickets at the ACC is proof of that. The Leaf, Toronto fans are crazy. But if the Raptors somehow make it to a conference final, make it to an NBA final in the next 3 to 5 years, I wouldn't be surprised to see that Leaf number of fans diminish.
It might.
And that Raptor We the North rising just coming up.
It wouldn't surprise me because, I mean, like, watching the Leafs, like, it's more fun for me to follow a Leaf game on Twitter and to see the agony. That's more fun in the game some days.
Leaf bloggers are hilarious. Leafs, people who follow Leaf and like I'm probably just like thinking of Steve Dangle here, but
yes,
they are so good. Like, I don't. Are you on the Facebook page, the Leaf fans?
I might be. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like it's just a huge debate on like random. Like someone will say something stupid.
Yes.
And about 20,000, not 20,000. Sorry, what was that? Probably 1,000 people will just fight it and say no. Phaneuf is gonna be fine, man. He just needs to get some rest, and then you'll get 1,000 people go, no, Phaneuf's a pylon. You're a freaking idiot. Like everyone just like the Leaf blogging scene is awesome. I think it's so great.
You know what's funny? Dion Phaneuf, like this guy gets crapped on so hard. Like his Instagram. Have you seen the Conklin Instagram page?
I haven't, no.
Oh my goodness! Like Dion Phaneuf, he'll be eating breakfast. Like there was a picture once he's eating breakfast at some restaurant, and in the kitchen window, like the window was facing toward the street, and there was a pylon, and the comment was, nice shot of you out front.
I'm pretty sure doesn't Phaneuf's dog have an Instagram account?
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure the dog averages more likes than I do on Instagram, which is a sad statement. But
yes.
God.
Like, these fans, like, I have a buddy of mine who plays junior hockey in Alberta with Dion Phaneuf's younger brother.
Oh,
cool. In Sherwood Park, Alberta. And his younger brother, he gets ripped too. Like, people comment, your brother sucks. Your brother's a douche. Like, leave his brother alone.
You know what? Like, I just think, do you know what, though? I loved Dion Phaneuf in Calgary. Like, I know this is not going to rub you the wrong way because you're an Oilers fan. Yeah. But his junior, like, him in the World Juniors and him in Calgary, he just was fearless. That guy, like, if you saw Dion Phaneuf coming at you, you caught that puck up like that, right?
It's true.
He was a big boy who could hit you really hard. And I think his role and his expectations changed immensely when he came to Toronto, right? So Dion Phaneuf comes to Toronto. They smacked the C on him, a year in?
Yeah, 1 year.
Which was, okay, I was like, oh, man, yeah. Dion Phaneuf comes in his first, I remember watching his first game, actually. He comes in, he fights a guy, and the whole, it was like, oh, the Leafs culture has changed. Brian Burke, hashtag truculence, like it's happening. But oh man, I just think he's been put under a huge microscope here, as everyone is in Toronto.
Of course.
That he is scared to make those moves that he's made in junior and Calgary.
In Calgary, yeah.
Like think about, let's go back to the playoffs against Boston.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it was game 5, and he goes in and absolutely, I think it wasn't Krejci, it was the guy who passed to Krejci, but he pinches in, absolutely nails the guy, and the whole crowd goes, it's crazy. But he pinched, and it goes to the pass goes to Krejci. Krejci scores in overtime. Bruins win game 5.
Yes.
So I remember the whole flag, like, oh man, Dion Phaneuf shouldn't have pinched. What an idiot! And I'm like, half of you, including me,
yes,
were losing their mind because that was an awesome hit by Dion Phaneuf. I just think that's the player he is.
Yeah.
He needs to stop playing with fear and just go out, hit some people, and I don't know. I think Toronto is toxic for him, and I think he needs to go.
I do agree with you on that. And people always say, turn back out west. Edmonton would, in a heartbeat, would love to have Dion Phaneuf. In a heartbeat. Put him on the Oilers blue line because right now, their best D-man is Jeff Petrie. Jeff Petrie is the best. Jeff Petrie is a good defenseman, but it's really only him and Andrew Ference. The rest of the D-man have been struggling or are in Oklahoma City for some reason because management has just gone goofy back home. So, you put Phaneuf in Edmonton and that D-core improves somewhat. And he plays at home, he's from the city, he's at home, and he's away from just the constant nagging of Leafs fans.
Who do you give up for him, though?
Ooh.
Like, we're probably knowing, because first of all, it's a stupid contract he has, right?
Yes.
So you guys got to take on that. But we want one of your young guys. We want an Eberle, or I guess God, he's not there anymore, or a Yakupov, or I'm just trying to think. Nugent Hopkins, I think, won't move. I think he'll stay at Edmonton. Same with Hall. I think he's very safe. But yeah, if you're Edmonton, I think Edmonton's a very interesting situation.
Yes.
Because they're a pick away from having probably the best player in the NHL since Sidney Crosby.
It could happen.
Right? So do you blow that team up now and have McDavid kind of come in and without an Eberle or minus a Yakupov or something? Or do you just kind of stay put, keep that core of guys, and then bank on a McDavid or an Eichel to be that missing piece and to take you to a playoff spot, right?
It's tough.
So Edmonton, I think the Leafs are more screwed than Edmonton is what I'm trying to say here. And I think both Edmonton and Toronto though have difficulties on defense.
They do,
and they need to address that. But it's a shame. It's a shame Edmonton didn't get the first pick. They've had the first pick for so many years, but they couldn't get it last year with Ekblad because that would have been amazing for you guys.
Look at him in Florida right now, just a stud at 18 years old.
I know.
And
best flow in the game by far. Holy smokes, the kid's got a head of hair.
You know what's funny? We say he's a kid, but he looks like he's been in the league for 12 or 13 years already. He 6'4", 230 at 18. That makes sense.
He's awesome. He's really good defenseman. He's good in hockey.
That kid, Florida will be a playoff team again very soon with him. That Florida Panthers team, watch out for them in 2015, 2016. I like what they have in Sunrise.
Huberdeau?
Yeah.
Huberdeau, I remember watching Huberdeau in the Memorial Cup. It was actually in Mississauga, where I'm originally from, and they were playing, I think it was the Majors. Because I guess the host team goes to the Memorial Cup, and I think they had a good team that year. Dave Cameron was coaching. And I remember that St. John Sea Dogs won that, and that was the Huberdeau team, and I was like, that guy is going to be good.
Yeah.
He's going to be a good player, and he's showing it. They got Barkov. Luongo's got maybe how many years left? 3 or 4? Yeah, right? So, man, I'd love to see Florida in the playoffs. I'd love to see, it was like last year, seeing Columbus in the playoffs almost beat Pittsburgh was the coolest thing to happen.
It's true.
Yeah.
If they found a way to knock off Pittsburgh in that series, I wonder how far they could have gone.
Oh, yeah, it would have been a great story, too. Yeah, the NHL playoffs could be interesting.
Yeah.
I'd love to. You're seeing a power shift for sure.
You are
coming out.
People always say, Move Florida, move Florida. I have friends, and I have friends who cover the Panthers now. When the team wins, the fans actually do come when they're a good team. I remember when they made the playoffs in 2012, the place was absolutely packed in their series against New Jersey, which was so cool to see. And the rat trick came back. So every game in Florida took like 4 hours because they brought the rat trick back.
Yeah. I think the first team to move to the Phoenix, though.
Yeah, I think so.
I think I don't know what the hell Phoenix is doing, man. That team is just they're terrible, and they're gonna. Shane Doan's gonna retire soon.
Yes.
And yeah, man. Except it could be the McDavid. McDavid goes to Phoenix and saves the whole franchise. And becomes a hockey market.
That's been the whole thing. People have been saying, Arizona needs McDavid more than say Buffalo.
Oh, sorry, Arizona, not Phoenix. Yeah.
So, yeah, it takes a while to adjust. Not calling it Phoenix anymore.
Yeah,
people are saying, the league needs McDavid in Arizona to save that market, save that franchise.
Like Crosby did in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Because, they're based on the verge of being moved to Kansas City.